Iran today, out of nowhere, they bit. Trump announced Project Freedom yesterday. It just started today, where they were going to start escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz, effectively rendering Iran's one bit of leverage feckless and useless. And Iran took the bait. And by taking the bait, I mean they lashed out because this is all they have. And by doing so, I believe they just showed us that they are absolutely unable to handle this. This is the one thing they can't let slide, because otherwise they have nothing left. No leverage whatsoever. So Trump hit them in the pain point, and it broke them today. So Iran reportedly attacked the Fujairah oil terminal in United Arab Emirates, as well as shooting at a couple ships. This is the endpoint of ADCOP pipeline, UAE's only Hormuz bypass. 1.5 million barrels per day of crude capacity, expandable to 1.8 million. This pipeline was built specifically so UAE could export oil without transiting the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's not just hitting a coalition partner, they're targeting the infrastructure that lets oil flow without Hormuz. In other words, they are freaking out that people are figuring out other ways to get around this. They can't let this happen. This is all Iran has left. It's their only card, and we're finding out that they don't even really hold the card, and so they're panicking. This is playing right into Trump's hands, because if they break this ceasefire fully, which Trump's been playing a little nice so far, we're going to get into that in a second, they break this, they go full out. Now, all of a sudden, Trump can just declare that they broke a ceasefire. Now it's defensive, and he's got a whole new set and timeline of war powers to use against them. The only other major Hormuz bypass, Saudi Arabia's east-west pipeline to Yanbu, attacked in April. If they can't export through Hormuz, nobody bypasses it either. Well, good luck with that. Iran has taken, this from Trump himself, taken some shots at unrelated nations with respect to the ship movement. They shot at South Korean ships today. It's Project Freedom, including a South Korean cargo ship. Perhaps it's time for South Korea to come and join the mission. We've shot down 7 small boats, or as we like to call them, fast boats. It's all they have left. Other than the South Korean ship, there's been at this moment no damage going through the strait. Secretary of War Hegseth and Chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff Kane will have news conference tomorrow morning. Apparently we got 2 American ships through today, which is a big deal. It's the first time we've seen that happen since the war started. So this is working, and within one day they're already panicking and acting out like this. This tells you that Trump is the one fully in control here. I don't see how there's any other way to look at this. Trump has played this again perfectly. Just like we said last night, the setup was here, and it didn't take them a day. It didn't take them a day to start falling into it. Already, MBS has called UAE, condemning Iran's attack and reaffirming Saudi's support for the country's security. So the Middle East continues to galvanize with the U.S. against Iran. And, I mean, think about it this way. Iran, let's go back. Let's go back a decade even, okay, right before Trump 1.0 and the Abraham Accords. We had this Middle East where Saudi Arabia was basically, we weren't exporting our oil. We weren't drilling our oil to our full capacity thanks to Obama and the climate scammers, the Democrats being in power, the Uniparty being in power. So that was on purpose. And so we allowed OPEC, especially Saudi Arabia, to hold us hostage over oil prices constantly. And all the Middle East was constantly willing to be against one another. They just were. Other than the OPEC cartel, it was against Israel. It was, they allowed terrorist cells to operate here and there. It was craziness. And now, 10 years later, after my entire life, just like the Middle East was an absolute disaster, a mess, and we were beholden to them. They could hold leverage over us with oil, all that my entire life. And now we have basically the entire Middle East, except for Iran, on our side with deals made with us, at peace with Israel, and now they're all ganging up against one of theirs, the number one state sponsor of terror as well. The power dynamics, the way that geopolitics has shifted in the last 10 years is nothing short of miraculous. And it's crazy to me that people don't think about this when they're all saying like what Trump has not done. You know, people get mad at Trump for not doing enough. When meanwhile, he's completely reshaped the planet in one of the most volatile, dangerous, and problematic regions in the earth has just been completely changed. It's wild, and it's one of the great accomplishments we'll see. So as for today, though, here's Jesse Water with a nice little breakdown.
Unblocking the strait while we maintain the blockade, that's going to really bring their negotiating team to its knees. It also unlocks all of this pent-up cargo and energy out of there. And we did it without boots on the ground. And we did it without any Asian or European allies, so you're welcome. We basically sailed multiple guided missile destroyers straight through the gap. We demined this little safe passage along the coast of Oman. And this is not like a one-to-one escort situation. We've created an entire defensive umbrella around the Gulf with anti-missile defense systems, helicopters, fighter jets, drones with about 15,000 service members. And we've already got 2 U.S. flagged vessels out of there safely. This is a defensive operation. We don't fire until fired upon. They fired first. They broke the ceasefire, and it didn't go very well for them. 6 of their fast boats from the Mosquito fleet wasted by a pack.
I mean, okay, so real quick before we finish, we took out 6 or 7 of their boats, so the ceasefire is effectively over. However, Trump's still honoring it in word, seeing if it'll escalate, if they'll escalate it. But did you hear everything Jesse just said? Other than that, though, everything we have accomplished without any help, with 15,000 of our service members over there, no boots on the ground. It's a miraculous operation, and I continue to say this will go down as one of the greatest military operations in history when it's done. But anyways, just incredible stuff.
Apaches and Seacraft helicopters, and then also a bunch of missiles and drones they shot out, all of them intercepted. They threw some missiles over to our buddies at the UAE. Almost all of them intercepted. There's a small fire at an export terminal.
Those Timu
I think
missiles,
it's going to be
from
okay.
China.
But if Iran continues to escalate, we can climb the escalation ladder. We can do it all day. It's not going to end well for them. Right now, Operation or Project Freedom looks really savvy, sophisticated, and the oil markets are going to love it. This corners their negotiating team, and it will really put the president in a great position when he goes to Beijing in about 10 days.
Yep. 100%. He nails it. The negotiating tactics are just brilliant here. The strategies Trump has implemented. And again, there's a lot of people who believe that this was all just Trump flying by the seat of his pants, you know, flying off the cuff, making it up as he goes, finding out he's stuck, coming up. But I'm just telling you, there's absolutely no way that's true. The way the way it's all been built up, going all the way back to Venezuela, by getting Venezuela freed up in the easiest operation ever. I mean, in many ways, at least the shortest operation ever. Getting that taken care of, releasing their oil, breaking grip of China, City of London, CIA, Deep State, all off of Venezuela, freeing that flow of oil now, which we're already seeing. We're already seeing it come up here. It's already starting to be processed. It's wild. They said it couldn't be done. They said it would take years. Nope, it's already happening. So you see that's established, going over to Iran, and now just the way Trump has methodically broken Iran. Like the first couple of days, just that military strikes, which were unbelievably successful. It just took out the big bad number 3 big bad in the world in just a couple of days, to the ceasefire, and now this maneuvering on the Strait of Hormuz. We're taking down one of the most embedded suicidal groups of crazy people we've ever seen. This has been a long time in the making. And what Trump's pulling off is just, everybody says impossible. But these people are so, like, City of London right now is terrified. They're terrified. And that's why you're seeing Iran act so crazy, not making sense. And also we have the factions within. The president of Iran came out today and said he was furious that the IRGC launched these attacks. Well, the IRGC is really running Iran, but they have this whole other part of Iran that's trying to actually take over, get leadership in, because they know if this doesn't stop, the people are going to rise up. The economy is getting that bad. And Trump is now doubling down. And this makes me think, guys, we are about to see the unleashing of our war machine again. And it's going to be quick, and it's going to be effective, and it's going to be devastating. But Trump today says Monday, Iran will be blown off the face of the earth if it attempts to fire on American ships within the Strait of Hormuz. So they had a 20-minute conversation with Fox News today. I don't know if you guys know this, but Trump actually gives his private number out to reporters so they can call him. And sometimes he just grants interviews off the cuff as a result. So the Fox News reporter got him today and got him to say we'll blow him off the face of the earth. It's this close. Okay, we're this close to seeing February 28th, March 1st happen all over again. Part 2. This time with more aircraft carriers there, more weapons. They're much weaker. And he'll have the cover that they are the ones who provoked by breaking the ceasefire this time. It's masterful, because you see, in our day and age, since we don't have a king, since we don't have Caesar, our president has to play politics while also waging war. This has been, the founding fathers, they created the executive branch. They wanted a king. Well, I'm sorry, not a king. King light, okay, L-I-T-E. They recognize that in times of war and foreign policy, you needed a strong man to do the work, because they had to be able to react quicker. A Congress would be too slow and ineffective, and that's how you'd lose wars. That's one of the sole reasons for the kingship, aka president, we've put into our system. And he's not a full king, but the point is that the founding fathers knew that there were actually benefits to multiple kinds of governments. They knew there was benefits to monarchy. They knew there was benefits to oligarchy, but there was also downfalls to those. So they knew that democracy was important, but not full democracy, because full democracy is insanity. It's ruled by the mob. And then republic was what they came to as the best overall system. So they put all these parts of different governments under the banner of the law, which made it a republic. So we're a constitutional democratic republic with aspects of regular democracy, which is the House of Representatives supposed to be, oligarchy, which is the Senate, and monarchy, which is our president. But because of that, even if he's allowed to strike quickly, defend us, when war comes, he has to play politics. So what Trump did here was so genius by implementing this ceasefire with a crazy nation that he knew would never fully hold unless they completely collapsed, unless the people took him over. So it's win-win. From the moment, honestly, from the moment we struck them, we were winning. There's just no doubt about it, by the way we absolutely demolished them. But see, a weaker, stupider president would have screwed it up. A feckless person, more beholden and cared more about their poll numbers, or cared more about what the Senate was saying, they would have failed. But Trump played this genius by using the war powers assigned to him, taking him up to the edge, calling the ceasefire, and then basically saying, let's play, let's play what's it called? Let's play chicken. Who's going to blink first? And obviously now Iran is, and that just is totally unleashing us for a whole nother round to finish this. I think Trump wants a deal because he doesn't want death and war. Trump's proven to us that over his whole time as president. He doesn't like to go there, but he's willing to. And so he gave them as many chances as he possibly could. But guys, it's coming down to it. So, and again, when you realize, as I've reported, as Promethean Action does a great job on it, Tom Luongo and others, Brian Cates on X, the whole City of London cabal, Iran is their key. And one of the reasons Iran is putting their foot down, the IRGC is acting like this, is because City of London just can't lose this. They can't. Once they do, it all starts unraveling for them very quickly. Speaking of Tom Luongo, he had this great post today. IRGC's attack on UAE today was both predictable and sad. Predictable because pipeline at Fujairah was a direct threat to their global oil and gas blackmail. Sad because, again, IRGC chose death in the wake of Trump formally and legally in the U.S. ending Operation Epic Fury to ensure that a sympathetic or traitorous Congress couldn't come to their rescue by restraining Trump. They could have effectively negotiated a surrender of a war they've lost and a gambit they've been outplayed in, but they didn't, and now the Iranian people will suffer. They've done this all to serve the designs of those in Europe, and yes, London, to keep this conflict going in the vain hope of drawing Trump into a war he's not going to fight. Their leverage is gone. U.S. Navy's escorting ships through the strait. The only ones not going through are obvious co-conspirators, mostly Indian, trying to keep this thing in the headlines, a global threat to prices up. That's one of the main things they're about to lose, is their ability to manipulate the oil prices, which is why Trump keeps saying once this is over, oil prices will dump. And I'm telling you guys, oil prices after the Iran war, after this is finished and all the straits are opened up, all the passageways across the world, and we're still pumping oil like crazy, and now Venezuela's unleashed as well. They no longer have control over the shipping. They can't. OPEC is being broken up, the cartel with UAE leaving. All this is going to lead to free market energy, which we just have simply never lived under. We've just never lived under that on a world scale. And that's going to cause gas prices to tank. Oil prices are going to tank. And I would not be surprised if we see $40 a barrel by the end of the year. Now, they've given him the legal justification he needs to do that, which he pre-positioned a whole lot of military power to do. They have no one but themselves to blame. All of this while there was a direct attack on the UAE currency, the U.S. 30-year bond market, which has just been happening, which is playground of the Bank of England. It's the financial wars, which are always the main wars, right? Took place during a British banking holiday when gilt markets were closed. Absolutely. Now, this is a great post. I was shared with me today as well that I want to go through just to give more insight. Karl von Clausewitz wrote that war is continuation of politics by other means. Trump grasps this from the start. Operation Epic Fury exists to stop Iran's nuclear march, restore deterrence, not to pursue familiar neocon fantasy of occupation and nation building. By weaponizing Strait of Hormuz, Iran committed a strategic blunder of historic proportions. Tehran meant to punish America. Instead, it exposed every power built on imported energy, vulnerable sea lanes, and delusion that globalization repealed geography. China's exposed. Europe's exposed. Britain's exposed. Guys, this is exactly what we've been saying, and I'm so happy so many people are waking up to it. It makes me so happy. We're finally seeing our real enemies for who they are. We're finally, like, even when I started understanding the deep state several years ago, a decade ago, I still didn't fully understand where it came from, the systems. It took years to understand this. And once you see it, once you see the City of London, once you see how bad Europe is to us, once you get past the fact that China is, yes, an enemy, but they're not the biggest, baddest enemy they've been built up to be. Once you see all this, it just opens your eyes. And this is exactly what Iran's doing. Iran is so many things, but it's also a great awakening project. It is everybody who's paying attention, who understands geopolitics, is seeing things that they didn't see before. It is amazing to behold. And I'm telling you, they are freaking out at how obvious it's all become. Them not engaging in the war, Europe at all, withholding NATO alliances, China not coming in to defend Iran and start World War III. I mean, it's exposure after exposure after exposure. And right here, every power built on imported energy, vulnerable sea lanes. I mean, that describes City of London, aka the British Empire, and China to a T, doesn't it? The delusion that globalization repealed geography. Just, it's beautiful what Trump's doing. Start with China. Beijing's industrial machine depends on imported oil and gas moving through vulnerable maritime choke points. They were getting their oil from Iran was selling 90% of its exports to China for on the cheap wholesale prices. And that's gone now. A great power relying on long exposed sea lines cannot be secure regardless of economic scale. Europe and Britain face the same problem. After escaping Russian dependency, trade one vulnerability for another, leaning on imported natural gas and maritime flows exposed to coercion. When choke points tighten, they absorb shocks rather than project strength. European criticism says less about American failure than about discomfort with a world where hard power still matters. And they tried to hide that for years. It was all about this soft power, this globalist cabal world that was just a house of cards that's now collapsing. And the only way it stood up at all was because they were able to hide behind America's military might and the power of our financial system, the power of our economy, just supporting them, supplementing their lifestyles. Trump deserves credit. Operation Epic Fury struck thousands of targets, degraded Iran's offensive capabilities, shattered assumptions the West would absorb escalation without response. Administration acted while others lectured, restored deterrence in the only language Tehran understands. And he goes on and on, but here's the financial dimension, which is what Bessent is the mastermind of. Demand for Federal Reserve swap lines during crisis proves King Dollar remains supreme. Trump just made us all these, as we were being weakened over the decades by the globalists, by the City of London system, by our own politicians selling us out to them, others were starting to rise up. We had the BRICS nations trying to counter us, trying to raise up their own power, which was, China, Brazil, Russia, was Iran too, I think. And they were trying to create a counter force. And what Trump did is just came in and said, no, not on my watch. We are still the greatest. We're still the most powerful. We have the best system. We have the best everything. And we're going to act like it. And what he's done is he's completely reestablished our dominance. And I'm telling you, even at this point, if terrible things happen and we got horrible people back in charge, what Trump has already accomplished is set us up for at least a couple decades. And I'm not saying if the Democrats got back in, there wouldn't be a lot of horrible things happening quickly, but they would have to accelerate in ways that still wouldn't get them the full control they want because the globalist system is being so destroyed. They're in they're having extreme issues as they're breaking down. Everything they built, he's destroying. And he's put America back on top, which means, guys, it's only a matter of time. And I don't think very long. I think from this point, 6 to 18 months before we start seeing extreme prosperity come back to our land. Because when you're on top like this and you're the number one exporter, everybody depends on you. That means all that is coming back. That middle class is going to be rebuilt. We're starting to see signs, but you just can't be in this position and not thrive. It's pretty much impossible because Trump's also going to make sure all that money out is not going in outflow anymore. It's going to stay here. When stress hits, governments run toward dollar liquidity, not away from it. Hard resource power, monetary power reinforce one another, and the United States sits at the center of both. And that's what it is. We have the military power, greatest in the world, and we have the financial power, greatest in the world. This is unbelievable. What he's pulled off. It's incredible stuff. And Cates, he's reporting on what's going to happen with energy. But he talks about they've been carefully reducing and rationing out energy to manipulate and control the markets. That's exactly how City of London has wrested its control and made trillions of dollars doing so. Everyone knows for over 100 years these heels have been doing this. It became such business as usual and nobody could really see it anymore. But they've never been challenged until now. But since announcing the end of all this, Trump and others around the world are ending the energy rationing market manipulation. This will have impacts all over the world in ways many people can't see it. How about the fact that if energy is cheaper, everybody thrives more? Everybody thrives more, including third world nations. Everybody benefits from this. Nobody loses except for the power brokers. That's it. Those who've tried to consolidate power are the only ones who lose when energy gets cheap. Everybody else thrives. Everybody else increases. Their countries start increasing. Their GDP goes up. Their standard of living goes up. Everything gets better when energy's cheaper. And Trump is about to unleash this. So it's not only our country that's going to prosper. Other countries are going to do much better because of this. And you can see, talking about the power brokers, UN officials have warned United Nations faces total financial collapse as a result of non-payment of dues by member states. Trump has started the revolt, and they're all ditching. It's beautiful. We face a real danger of running out of money. Well, the UN is the face of the City of London cabal. It's their outward-facing political face. Put on the nice faces. It's like, oh, we're the United Nations. But it's really just been their little Muppet show for the world to say, oh, look how nice they all are, when behind the scenes they're plotting to centralize power for all these people that they're the only ones who benefit, and it taking advantage of us over and over again. We've put up with these people for way too long, and now Trump is actually bankrupting them as a result of all this too. So if that doesn't tell you we're winning, if that doesn't tell you City of London is breaking, the deep state's breaking, I don't know what else to tell you guys. The genius of everything that's happening is incredible. And I really do believe that we're going to see the end of this. It might be fast and furious here. These strikes might pick up, or Iran might completely cave as their people rise up. We don't know how this is going to end, but it's clear at this point Iran's panicking. They're panicking because it was stupid what they did today. There's nothing for them to gain from striking UAE and striking these ships, breaking this ceasefire. There's nothing. They have nothing to gain from it. And so it proves once again that Trump has them cornered. And so as this breaks open and this ends, this is going to go down as one of the greatest wins an American president's ever had. And I love this show we're watching because it's amazing to watch this man in action.